What's going on, everyone? So, Isabel May is going to be playing Sidney Prescott's oldest daughter, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really excited to see how is Isabel May, how does she portray Sidney's daughter. Also, you got to keep in mind, this very likely may end up being the face of the franchise going forward, right? That's what they were trying to do with Sam and Melissa Barrera. Obviously, that fell through. So, they're probably going to want somebody to be the face going forward because I don't think that they're going to stop after 7. Supposedly Scream 8 is already greenlit, right? And, Sidney, she may do that film, she may not. But even if she does, how many more films is it? I could see, and I've talked about this, I could see this kind of being like the recent Halloween trilogy, where 18 was more, Laurie Strode focused, Jamie Lee Curtis, and, kind of the setup of the other characters, Allison, right? And then that transition from, Jamie Lee Curtis and Laurie Strode to more Karen and Allison, and then it became more of an Allison movie, right? I can see something like that where they do kind of this trilogy. You get a Isabel May as Tatum Prescott, right? And then she ends up kind of just being the introductory character, a little bit in the forefront. She's one of the final girls. She's one of the main targets, one of the main focus. And then Scream 8, she's a little more. And then Scream 9, boom, there you go. Now she's the face of the franchise. So more likely than not, I think at some point, she very well could end up being the face of the franchise. But beyond that, right, I'm excited to see, how does she portray Tatum? Right? We know that Sidney's daughter is, the oldest daughter is supposed to be Tatum. That was one of the very first rumors that came out. And we just keep getting news that hey, that's going to be her name, which makes sense. Again, nice little tie-in, nice little callback. And it's something, people do for, loved ones that have passed and stuff. So it makes sense, right? But how is Isabel May, how is she as an actor in the role of Tatum, right? People love Melissa Barrera and past and, even more recent projects, right? But the consensus in Scream 5 was get her off our screen, right? More people kind of came around to her in Scream 6, but Scream 5 was not very kind to Melissa Barrera and, Sam Carpenter, right? Most people were, again, I'm not saying everybody, but the general consensus was, she was not very good in the role. And she was very bland and this. And again, that goes into the writing, that goes into the character she was portrayed. She played the character perfect. It just wasn't a character that was a hit. That wasn't her fault. It was the writer's fault, right? And you saw that in Scream 6 when they gave her a little more, depth, right? So that's something how is the writing for her character? How does she portray it? There's a lot of elements that go into this. How is she towards her mother? Right? Is she, kind and, just understanding and just the perfect daughter, or is she a little rebellious? Does she feel a little smothered by Sidney, right? Is she the kid that you got to watch out for, right? How is she with her father, right? How is the family dynamic? How is she as a friend, as a girlfriend, all these things, right? Because supposedly she has a boyfriend, all that stuff. So I am really looking forward to the portrayal of her. But another big thing is the other children. What's going on with the other children? Well, we got a little bit of an update, little bit of news that, again, could be code names. Keep this in mind because the Tatum thing is not supposed to be a code name. Tatum is supposed to be her actual name. But we got a couple other, Sidney's 2 other younger children. Here's the update. So, according to Critical Overlord, shout out to Critical Overlord, go check him out. He has a YouTube channel many of you may be familiar with. He also has X. But after this video, of course, finish this video, then go check out his videos. But according to him, Sidney Prescott's other daughters, remember, she has 2 other daughters, so she has 3 daughters total, are named Mia and Charlotte. Could be code names like the others. So, again, if these names are true, which again could be code names, right? As Critical Overlord even says, hey, these could be end up code names, but let's just go with Mia and Charlotte. So you'd have Mila, Charlotte, and then Tatum as the oldest. Also, her children are supposed to be at the mother-in-law's. We got previous reports because the question is, okay, well, Tatum's going to be in the film, right? What about our other children? One of the children were like incredibly young and in a stroller last time we saw her. Now you got to keep in mind that would have been, by the time this Scream movie comes out, that would have been, because there's also supposed to be a time jump. I mean, it could be 5-6 years at that point. So the child in the stroller, even if it was like a newborn, would be, 5 or 6 years old at that point. The youngest, probably, my guess, probably going to be around 7 or 8. And then I think she'll probably have another daughter. Just based on the casting list, it looks like she's going to have a daughter around, anywhere from, like I said, 6 to 8, and then another daughter anywhere from like 9 to 11, somewhere in that range, or 9 to 12. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But supposedly, those 2 youngest daughters are going to be with the mother-in-law while the Ghostface attacks are happening. Now, is it going to be something where Ghostface attacks and then that causes Sidney to send her children to grandma's house? Is it something where, they already went? Because this movie's going to take place in fall and it's going to take place in November and close to Thanksgiving. So it might even be around Thanksgiving time. So it could be one of those things where, Sidney sends her daughters to go see grandma for the holidays, right? Maybe Tatum being the teenager. I don't want to go to grandma's house. I got a new boyfriend. I want to stay with my boyfriend, or I want to stay with my friends, or whatever. The teenager thing, right? They never want to go anywhere except for where they want to go. So maybe they stay back, and then Ghostface ends up showing up and making things interesting. That could be a real possibility. Regardless, I really hope they take the time to really kind of flush out the family dynamic, right? Like, this is a really incredible opportunity, right? Like, one, whoever thought Sidney could have children, I mean, think of how brutally she's been attacked regularly, right? So the fact that she's had 3 children is a testament to her and her resilience. And then on top of that, you add in, just it's Sidney Prescott and she has children, right? It's just like, and she's married, and it's crazy, right? So, in a good way, right? So it's like, okay, well, now we're like, let's explore that. Let's take the time to really digest that and go over that. I'm not saying you have to spend the whole movie going over every little detail of her family life, but I do want them to take the time to really kind of flush things out, right? Scream has always been very family oriented. I mean, it all started with Sidney's mother, right? So, and then, the full circle moment was Roman the brother, and then even Sam with Billy. And so, Mrs. Loomis with Billy, and, Detective Bailey with Richie, right? So there's always been hints and little pieces of the family element, the family dynamic, right? So, this isn't like a completely new idea and concept, but the fact that Sidney has children and we may get a Ghostface targeting a family for the first time, that is something new. That is something we just haven't had, right? Sidney's never had to be responsible for somebody else to the level that she would for her children. Obviously, she loves Dewey and Gail, and, she's had, Derek and guys like that, right? Like, so there's been people that she's wanted to try to save, but it's very different when it's your children and your husband and all that stuff. So now she's not just going to be responsible for keeping herself alive. She's going to be responsible for keeping her family alive. And that's just a really cool, unique direction we just haven't gotten yet with the Scream franchise. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Disagree? Mixed? In the middle? Know what do you want to see from the family dynamic? I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.